What's up, everyone? I'm going to do an Instagram live with my good friend, Dr. Ann Shippy. And she's going to join me in a second. And as soon as I see her on here, I'm going to have her come in. And she's one of the guests at the Biohacking Conference that's coming up here October 10th. You need to go to biohackingconference.com so you can sign in. Here she is. All right. Ann, are you there? You should be popping up any second. At least I said yes to your request. There we are.
Hi, Dave.
Hey. So everyone, this is Dr. Ann Shippy, and she has a practice in Austin. She's a good friend, and she's on a panel and giving a talk on air quality and mold as a part of the Biohacking Conference. She's also a fantastic functional medicine practitioner. She does preconception, environmental illness, and things like that. So what I'm doing here is I am asking you guys for questions that you would like to ask of a biohacker, a former chemical engineer for IBM, turned medical doctor. So this is a chance for you to ask questions of the type of caliber of person we're bringing together. We're bringing like dozens of speakers in for October 10th. So ask away. You want about mold, metals, air quality, toxins, epigenetics. You have an awesome person here. So hey, Mind Wanderer. Hey, Mickey. How can we limit air pollution from Mandy? And we're going to talk about that a lot at the conference, but what do you think?
That's such a great question, because a lot of times we're creating it ourselves and not realizing it. So there's the things that are really hard to control because they're coming in from the outside, but there's a lot of times where we're cleaning things or washing things and we're adding to our own air pollution inside, or even just the paint. So we're going to talk about more ways at the conference that running a really great air filter, getting aware of what those things are that are causing some of that air pollution, and then really filtering your air in your house to make it as clean as you possibly can, because there's so many diseases that are preventable by not having air pollution exposure. One of the things that I just read the other day was that air pollution is the third cause of death in India. And I think it's not that far behind in other countries, because there's so many illnesses that are caused by air pollution, cancer, heart disease, neurological diseases. So we've got a lot of work to do to clean up our air.
Paleo Treats is asking, how do you detect mold in a house? And I know you and I have both experienced mold a lot. What do you tell a patient to do when they've been exposed to toxic mold?
Yeah, so unfortunately, most of the mold inspectors out there have not caught up with the technology of how to really detect it. So they come in and they do a test and they say, oh, you don't have mold, because they've just used a little pump to see what they can pick up in the air. But a lot of times those mold spores are just dropping close to where they're growing, and you actually have to get dust to find both the mold, and you want to look for the DNA. So it's called a PCR, where you look for the DNA of the different mold species. And then you can also detect some of the actual toxins, some of the mycotoxins in the dust as well. So especially if you're suspicious that you've got mold, or you're buying a new house and you want to make sure you're not buying a mold pit, or like Dave just did, bought a mold pit building that he is totally having to start over now. You've got to really test it thoroughly and use the right technology. So ask the inspector a lot of questions, and if they don't understand how critical this is for you, either you're in a house and you think that the mold might be making you sick, or you're buying a new place, if they don't get how serious mold can be, move on to the next person, because they are not going to help you in the way that they need to, because this is so serious. We really have an epidemic going on in our country with mold.
So Mandy's asking how you test for mold, though. There's something called an ERMI test, which is a powerful way of testing, ERMI. And an air inspector comes in and looks, what's the spore level and species level inside the house versus outside the house. If it's higher inside, that's a pretty good sign you got something going on. And then you can do tests of the body. And I know you can do a urine test and you can do a blood test for mycotoxins. Which one do you like, or or both? Like, why would you choose one versus the other?
Yeah, so we're still evolving our technology with this. So a lot of times if people have the finances to do, I like to do two different urine tests. So they do use two different technologies and they are better at detecting the mold in different people depending on how your detox pathways are working. So one is real-time lab, and I like to do just a baseline with them. And then also with a high dose of glutathione. And by the way, I've got a mold handout on my website. It's anshippynd.com/mold. Or you can go to /free and see the other handouts too. But it'll go through a lot of this on there so that you don't have to try to catch all the notes. But so real-time lab with and without glutathione, and then Great Plains Laboratory. Sometimes they'll miss things because their testing is very specific. If you started to metabolize the mycotoxin, it might not pick it up, but they have more toxins that they can test for. So sometimes that test will pick it up, especially if you have a mold like Chitomium, which is really neurotoxic.
Sue Ellen Henry's asking if ozone or something else can reverse neurological damage. She thinks black mold caused dementia in her father, which is a very likely thing. Black mold does cause dementia.
Yeah.
Can ozone help?
Yeah, ozone can definitely help, but not by itself. Especially when there's been that severe neurological damage, you need to help the body to detoxify with things like liposomal glutathione and binders. And then you also have to be giving the body what it needs to rebuild. So things like phosphatidylcholine and a lot of mitochondrial support to really help the brain get back online. So when I was first learning about mold, when I got really sick with the it was peripheral neurological injury, there wasn't a lot of information on this, so I had to just kind of piece it together. But what I got to see in my own body is that once I got out of the mold, got detoxified, and then had all these rebuilding nutrients, I'm totally fine. Like I could hardly pick up my purse. I had gotten so weak, and now I can pick up 70-pound suitcases and play tennis and things like that. So it's really, don't give up. The body is so extraordinary and can heal.
Mind Wanderer says it's overwhelming information. Two things to tell you. One, I'll save this for you so you can watch it again. Two, go to biohackingconference.com, sign up for the conference, because Anne is going to be speaking there, and you're going to get tons of info, and all of it recorded, and you can play it back as much as you want. We'll have transcripts for a bunch of it, and you're going to find all kinds of cool stuff. And you'll get cool people in the community like D. Mellum here, who's got great comments. He says, Bulletproof coffee is a great natural laxative. Shit rocket fuel. Thank you, David. And your earlier comment about how tanning your butthole wings made you a better human. Me as well. So I appreciate your sense of humor as an attempted troll, but you have to do better, my friend. Now, it turns out he probably actually is going to be at the conference, which is awesome. You'll find that when you go to the virtual conference, you get to interact like you are right now with Anne and with the other speakers there. And since we are not allowed to come together in person, even though it likely would be safe to do it in certain ways that are possible today, but legally it's an issue to do that. So we did everything I could think of in order to be able to make you build communities. So you can make new friends, you can meet people who care about the stuff you care about, and actually form real connections with them, so that when we have the real conference coming up next year, as soon as we can, then you can actually meet them there. So that's kind of cool. It's also become very affordable to do a virtual conference, so I made the price as low as I could for you. Biohackingconference.com. You get to hear more from Anne. You get to hear more from so many cool people, including Dr. Mark Hyman, including Maria Shriver. The whole point of it is, how do you stay resilient when the fit hits the shan? And so Bulletproof has always been about having more energy to deal with whatever's coming your way than you need. So you always know there's more accelerator to push on. You just don't need it, but it's there if you do. I didn't have that in my life when I had mold. I didn't have that in my life when I was 300 pounds and when I was stressed and anxious. And there is a method and a madness to biohacking where you actually say, oh, what if I can make enough energy? And I applied that to personal development. All of it's here at a conference from some of the greatest people in the world at a high-end conference. that's priced to get thousands and thousands of people there so we can connect with each other and basically stop all the weird crap going on in the world. Join me, biohackingconference.com, or you can also DM the word conference to me right now on Instagram, and I'll just send you the info that you need. So just DM conference to me right now, private message, not in just the little thread here, and I will send you the info instantly. I have a little machine robot thing that'll just send you the link. I'm not allowed to post the link here. It doesn't work. So do that.
But Dave, I think you really hit something super important, and that is, for us to be resilient, we have to have a sense of connection with people that we can have these important conversations with. So, you know, with the resilience theme, I love how it all comes together with helping people to feel like they're empowered to be able to take action and actually have a buffer so that they're not as impacted by surprises like we've gotten these last few months, and then really feel connected with the tribe. We so need that. Like, we just need to be around people that are on a similar mission. So thank you for pushing through and making this happen.
Aw, thanks, Anne. It's about playing. Like, we all want to play. And the Biohacking Conference is a community, and it's about getting to play with the tech and feel all the stuff. And so even here with the comment thread like that, I love the comments from D-Mail, and where they're fun, they're playful. So if the world feels too serious and feels too weird, you're going to learn the stuff. You're going to have fun. There's a community, and I promise you, it will not be all boring lectures. That's not how I roll. That's not how biohackers roll. That's not how we are. So adults get to come together and play, and we're going to talk about some cool stuff at the conference. We might even talk about sex, but don't tell anyone. I'll see you all there. Thank you, Anne, for sharing your knowledge with the world.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited about the conference.